Hey everybody, welcome back to Space Engineers 2, and I'm going to do a quick kind of building tutorial sort of thing. So I'm actually working on this project that I've been working on for a little bit, and I figured this would be a good opportunity to make a video on some basic building stuff. So if guys are new to Space Engineers 2, maybe they could learn something from it. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the block. In this case, I'm going to start with the interior wall flat half because I'm going to be building a police station. I'm going to hit J for new grid. I'm hitting R in order to select the block that I want to get out of my options, and then I'm hitting Control and the WASD keys in order to move it around. So yeah, then click to place. So now that I have my starter block, I can build off of this. I'm going to go ahead and line something up. I'm going to click and hold while holding Control. Here I am trying to give a tutorial. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So you're going to click, hold. You're going to click and hold Shift while you're holding down the click button, and you're going to drag, and that'll allow you to do that. Then I'm going to go ahead and place another one, and I'm just going to click and drag. If you ever need to line something up more accurately, what you're going to do is you're going to click and hold while hitting Control. Excuse me. Jacking this whole thing up. You're going to hold Control, and what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to line things up more accurately. Can you tell I'm doing this live and I didn't plan this out? But anyway, so I've got kind of a base structure here. Again, I'm building a police station, so it's going to take a minute for it to take shape. You may be wondering why I'm using these interior wall pieces as a floor, and the reason for that is because, okay, I really don't like how this turned out. One thing I don't like about these is that they are facing a certain way, so it makes like an H shape. But yeah, anyway, so the reason I'm using these is because, one, when you collide into these, they shatter and they have good shatter physics, and two, if you can see in the lower right hand corner, these are 5 PCU a piece. Now we can either use these to make walls and floors and such, or in here you have, where are they? Detailing blocks. So the problem with detailing blocks and using those for walls and such is that they can be very useful. However, when it comes to PCU count, the juice might not be worth the squeeze. So check this out. All right, how much was that? I wasn't even paying attention. That's 100 blocks. So you could either use one of these wall sections for 5 PCU, or you could use 100 of these blocks for 1 PCU a piece, so that's 100 PCU. And that's important because those PCU are, I think, physics-controlled units or something. Basically, your computer has to calculate every single one of those blocks. So you want to build buildings and ships and such with as few blocks as possible. That's part of good ship design or building design in Space Engineers 2. Also, I jacked this up again. No, I didn't. Yeah, I gotta... Sorry, it bothers me when the H's on these aren't lined up. So yeah, the holding shift and dragging is one of the most useful things that you're going to use in Space Engineers 2. Another thing that you can use is the symmetry function, like so. We won't really use that with buildings as much. You absolutely can. It's just they're more useful for large ships a lot of the time. So we won't go in depth on that right now. Okay, let's see. I'm going to make it 2 stories. It's going to be rather large. I do have kind of an idea in my head on what I'm going to set this up to look like. You may be wondering why I'm just building this out in space and not building it down there, and it's because I'm going to be uploading this to Steam Workshop, so I'm keeping it separate, and we'll show that later in the video. Brother. Okay, good stuff. Sorry, trying to do it in third person. I'll just do it in first person. Sometimes first person is better, sometimes third person is better. But anyway, okay, so I don't want to make it too big for the platform down there, but it'll be okay. It'll buff. We'll add one more section. Okay. So anytime you see these blocks with a plus next to them, that means there's multiple different types that you can cycle through by hitting R. Like so. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put corner pieces here. Okay. And here's where it's going to get a little bit weird. Things aren't going to quite line up, but you'll see why. So you have to be very careful not to bump into the whatever you're building when you're... If it's attached to another, like that over there, everything is grounded to the asteroid, so everything's fine. I can bump into it all I want. It's not going to float off. This, if I bump into it, it's going to float off into space. The only way to prevent that is if you put a gyro on it and then put thrusters in all directions, and that'll keep it from floating off. However, then you gotta, you know, it kind of gets in the way of building it sometimes, so teach their own. I might demonstrate that a little bit later. Okay, and you see what I did here? The reason I did this is because the way I like to build my buildings is I don't want to build them just one regular block high. I like to, when somebody walks in, I like there to be some ceiling height. I think that's a little bit more realistic as to an actual building versus a ship. A ship, you need to actually consider the overall size. Buildings, kinda, not as much. And you can see there I'm using the control key to be able to, once you've got it locked on a plane, you can just move it around like so. Okay, so... I'm kind of deciding how I'm going to do this as I'm doing it, to be honest with you. So that right there you saw, and I've already used it a few times in this video, is Control Z for undo. If you do something, and you can, hang on, check this out. Boom, oh no, I want to undo that. Hit Control and then Z. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, solid. Okay, so let's see, what are we gonna do? We'll have like a front desk area. Check those up. Okay. Let's see, how are we gonna do this? Did that look right? I don't think that looks right. All right, so right here is a good example of when we would sort of need to use detailing blocks, or do we? So check this out. This is where you want to really make those decisions. So we can measure this out. We got detailing block worth 1 PCU, right? We can also use a pillar block that's worth 5 PCU. So I put 2 pillar blocks here that are a grand total of 10 PCU instead of putting, what, like 10 or 15 PCU of these detailing blocks per. You know what I mean? Like how you're saving your computer some heartache. Oh my goodness. There we go. You'll see why I did that. So we can make these little spots where people can talk to the police or whatever they gotta do. This is going to be a multi-function building, so and there's going to be a certain amount of suspension of disbelief. So don't hate on me too much if it doesn't quite look exactly like a police station. And we can see here is another spot where we would have to use some smaller blocks. There we go. Okay. Okay. Actually, we'll figure. Oh boy, almost bumped into it. Don't want to do that. All right. So what I want to do is I want to build cells, like holding cells in the back. Just kind of getting creative with it. Okay. Yeah, you know what? I should probably design the room and then design the door around it. Hmm. Of course, we'll put the toilet right next to that guy's head because it's jail, so it's not going to be pleasant. These are huge shower blocks. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I guess we'll move the toilet. And we'll put the sink. Oh my goodness, there's like no room. This is crazy. Hmm. This shower block is absolutely massive. Interesting. Okay. That's so crazy. How can you design a small jail cell? Interesting. This is going to take some brainstorming. Maybe they have to stand over the toilet, I guess, to wash their hands. There we go. It's prison. That's where the animals live. So they're going to live dirty, of course. I don't know, man. I think I'm just gonna have to make it kind of like an open holding cell, not so much like small jail cells. I guess I didn't put that much thought into like prison design. I probably should have put more into it. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so there we got 6 bunks for 6 prisoners. Solid. Did I put that in upside down? No, I didn't. Cool. And they all share one shower, one sink, and one toilet because they're in jail. So that's what they get. Okay. We'll smooth it off just a little bit. So you can either use detailing blocks for this, or you can use a pillar block like so. So there's a little jail cell for the animals. Okay. Alright, I'm pretty satisfied with this building. It doesn't need to be super complex, and the reason for that is because I'm adding this to a city, so I need it to be semi-believable, but I don't need it to be super duper detailed or anything. We'll add some lockers and such, I guess for the police. Because that's where the police would store all their weapons and such, I suppose. We'll do it this way. There we go. Okay, using detailing blocks there because nothing else will fit. Man, oh man, okay. And then we use detailing blocks to fill in all these weird spots. Okay, so yeah, I think I'm pretty satisfied with it now. In the future, there will be more decorative blocks that'll get added to the game, and so we'll be able to fill out the interior. And on top of that, again, this is getting added to a city, so I'm going to keep the interior pretty basic. It's got to kind of just have a suspension of disbelief sort of thing going on. So we'll go ahead and put the roof on. Okay, so now, real quick, I'm going to cover what you need to do if you're building a building in Space Engineers 2 and you accidentally bump into it and it starts floating off. I'll cover what you need to do. First, you're going to get a gyro in your inventory. And then you're going to get thrusters. So let's say we are building the ship and, or excuse me, the structure, and then we ended up bumping into it. Let's say it's a little bit smaller than it currently is, and so then the structure starts trying to float away from us, right? And that's a little annoying, right? The smaller it is, the more bumping into it is going to affect it. But the way you stop that is you're going to very quickly go into your inventory, add the gyro and the thrusters, put a gyro on there, and then you're going to take your thrusters and put them on all sides of your creation. And that is going to stop it from moving around. Now, the thing that you then have to do is once it does stop moving, or once you're done working on it, you got to remove these. Otherwise, it's just going to look goofy. All right, and real quick, I'm going to put the pièce de la résistance. I personally like to put a light at every entrance of every building that I design. And the reason for that is because, I probably should have a light in there. Whatever. I can always update this in the future. But anyway, I'll go ahead and fix it now. I'm going to be very careful not to bump the thing around. A lot of time when you're lighting the interior of these structures as well as the exterior, it helps a lot to just have a rule of thumb of, oh boy, and I missed, oh wow, I missed quite a bit. Oh, it's so annoying. It's a good idea to have a rule of thumb for where you're going to place lights because it keeps things consistent. And a good way to do that is place a light on the interior and exterior of every doorway. All right, I think we're at that point where we can call the structure complete. So let's go ahead and save it and upload it to Steam Workshop. So you can hit G, click on New Blueprint, and then you're going to select it. Bada bing, bada boom. And it'll save and upload. Now that it's been built, since it is a building and not a ship, say we want to add it to another grid like this city that I'm building down here. Just fly up to it and hold Control and then hit Control X. You get the option to cut grid, and so what that's going to do is it's going to sort of delete it, but it's going to copy it to a clipboard. So you're going to hit yes. Now you're going to go to wherever you're going to try and put it. You're going to hit V. Bada bing, bada boom. So it's kind of a little sneak peek of what I've been building, but this is a city, and yeah, this right here, this little section is little government building section. So right here we sort of have like a DMV or some kind of like administrative office of some kind that people would come to do stuff. Then over here is going to be the police station. Again, not super detailed because my plan long term is to have tons of buildings, and I'm going to have an industrial. So like this is the poor people area where the poors live, but there's going to be an industrial area over yonder with large ships that can pull up and let off cargo, and there's going to be a refinery area way back there in the dark area. There's already a power plant set up. It's going to be a lot of fun. So as this project takes shape, I might make more videos with it. But